Castro, the palace press officer.
Magandang araw, Malacanang Press Corps. Abot kamay na gamot para sa mga Pilipino. Iyan ang nais ng Pangulo. Sa isang hakbang upang gawing mas accessible ang mga gamot para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, pangungunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang presentation ng Memorandum of Understanding para palawakin ang access ng mga mamamayan sa mga butika. Sa ilalim ng Regulatory Sandbox Plot or Pilot Program for Flexible Supervision of Pharmacies, mas magiging abot kamay ng mga mamamayan ang mga gamot dahil layunin nitong solusyonan ang kakulangan ng registered pharmacies sa bansa. Sa ilalim din ng programa, maaari ng pangasiwaan ng isang registered pharmacies ang ilang community pharmacies sa pamamagitan ng telepharmacy at video supervision. Kinikilala naman ni Pangulong Marcos ang kakayanan at malasakit ng mga pharmacies at pharmacy assistants at ang kanilang kontribusyon sa agarang paggaling ng ating mga kababayan. Ngayong araw ay makakasama natin si Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Secretary Frederick Go, upang bigyan tayo ng update sa mga economic developments sa bansa. Magandang araw po, Secretary Go.
Thank you. Magandang umaga, magandang tanghali sa inyong lahat. Natanggap ko po yung question na tinatanong yung lahat. Unfortunately po, the Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman was quoting off a confirmed fake news SOCMED post designed to catch attention and falsely sensationalize. The attributed source confirmed na fake news po ito at hindi galing sa kanila. The fact is, the drop wasn't 12%. You may confirm this with the Philippine Stock Exchange or your favorite stockbroker. Lahat po yan, alam nila. Public knowledge po lahat ng index po natin. And I have personally confirmed this with the PSE President and the top brokers in the stock market. For the period mentioned, which is August 11 to 29, the main PSE drop was only 1.6%. As a matter of fact, it was 1.58%. And the All Shares Index in our Philippine stock market of 282 companies, the drop was only 1.5%. And in terms of the market cap, which is the clickbait number of that fake SOCMED post, the drop po is only 1.4%. So these are all easily verifiable. You can confirm this later with the PSE, the Philippine Stock Exchange po. Or kahit sinong stockbroker po, alam po nilang lahat to. Public knowledge po lahat ng detalye po na to. And as a matter of fact, your very own colleague from the Inquirer in BizBuzz on September 5, written by Ian Sigaral, himself said that completely fake news po ito and he debunked it already on September 5. So, unfortunately, nangyari po ito pero confirmed po to by multiple sources na fake news po ito, including the attributed source of the SOCMED post. So sana po, wag na po tayo loko po sa fake news. Alam mo, the last time I was here, sa harap niyo po, I was also here to debunk fake news. Nakakalungkot po na I'm here again to debunk fake news again. Sana hindi na po niyo tawagin dito ulit. Okay, I'm open for questions.
Okay, we have 5 questions. First question is from Katrina Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Hi, sir. Sir, since you debunked already the supposed market wipeout, how much naman po in terms of pesos or US dollars yung investment losses or investment pledges na nawala because of this corruption scandal?
On investment pledges, I don't think we've lost anything. The The pledges continue to come in. As a matter of fact, we are now transmitting to the Office of the President the approval of the first beneficiary of the Create More Act, which is an investment from a Korean company of over $1 billion. The FIRB will be transmitting this to the Office of the President this week po. So I don't think we have lost any investment pledges because of this ongoing issue.
What about actual investments on the ground, sir? Are there already businesses who have pulled out amid news and reports of collusion among government officials and several private entities?
Yeah, I don't think anybody has pulled out. I think sometimes when there is unpredictability in the environment, people might temporarily think about their investment projects. But we're quite confident that when this is all resolved, they will all come back. No, so they have not pulled out. That they will continue, rather, that they will continue with their projects.
Next question will be coming from Maricel Halili, TV5.
Good morning, Secretary. Sir, on other issue, may we have your thoughts about the proposal of Senator Erwin Tulfo for a 1-month tax holiday? Is that doable?
Bagong-bago po to. Kailangan pag-aralan to ng mabuti ng Department of Finance at ng DBM po. This is quite an big matter, no? And I think it's best to give the DOF and the DBM time to carefully study this proposal.
But do you agree, sir, dun sa logic na malaking tulong kasi ito to at least boost the confidence of the public amid all the issues and concerns about corruption?
I'd like to defer this matter to the Department of Finance and the DBM because this really has to be studied carefully. I would hesitate to make a response that's probably not very well thought about. Thank you.
Next question will be from Chloe Hofana, Business World.
Morning, sir. Sir, is Malacanang worried about the U.S. State Department's assessment that corruption remains a major barrier to investment in the Philippines, and how would this affect the Philippines' image globally?
Yeah, I'll answer your question and also answer the first question earlier, no, because I think they're interrelated. No, we're all talking here about the current flood control issues. No, I'd just like to stress that the swiftness and decisiveness of the president shows the resolve of the government to clean up corruption, which is good for the economy and builds confidence. From the formation of respectable members of the Independent Commission to the very swift appointment of an ombudsman with gravitas, it shows how serious the president is about fixing this problem. I believe the negativity is overblown. This investigation will be good for the country long term because it will address and correct the wrong practices. The effect of this is that the budget, and we already see it now, will be more efficiently spent and allocated on more productive programs which will benefit the country and our people. Better deployment of the budget will result in projects with greater multiplier effect, bringing about better effects on the economy and jobs created. So while this may be a short-term issue, it definitely will have long-term benefits. To answer directly your question, if I may, on the what you were quoting, the report, I think business chambers, especially foreign business chambers, have long lamented two issues in our country, and that is corruption and red tape. Now, this administration sees the fight against corruption and red tape as a core part of its economic strategy. Again, the president himself initiated the current investigations as a catalyst for governance reform and to address long-standing issues decisively. What have we done in the administration to address red tape and corruption? We have come up with several programs such as the Create More Act, the PPP Code, and the green lanes for strategic investments, precisely these are all meant to address these matters. And I'd like to again repeat that the proactive steps taken, like forming the respected ICI and appointing the respected ombudsman, show we are serious to respond to these issues. By enhancing the effectiveness of public spending, we are turning a short-term challenge into an opportunity to reallocate funds to projects with a far greater growth and employment multiplier effect. This is the clearest signal that the Philippines is building a future-ready economy anchored on trust and sustainable growth.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next question is from Alvin Baltazar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Secretary, good morning po. Secretary, sa pakikipag-usap nyo sa business community, kamusta yung business confidence nila sa gitna nitong mga corruption issues?
I think the business confidence is still solid. I think you can see that from multiple sources of information, no? But of course, there is this short-term challenge that we have to overcome, primarily because of the negativity in our news or in our social media news feeds. No? So I think it will really help our country if we start moving on from this, focusing on the reforms and the corrective measures that will be done to address these issues that we have uncovered. And by doing that, I think the rebound will be stronger.
Secretary, just a quick follow-up lang. Ano yung appreciation ng business community dito sa initiative ni Pangulo Marcos to fight corruption? Actually, parang siya pa nga naging whistleblower dito sa anomaly sa ito. Anong appreciation nila?
I think the business community is very appreciative of this. It's not lost upon them that the president himself initiated this, no, and is very serious about fixing this long-standing problem.
Last question is from Sam Medinilla, Business Mirror.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. Can we know if meron po kayong data kung how much yung mga investment na expected na ma-approve natin within the year? Bukod po dun sa na-mention nilang South Korean, sir.
Sorry, we rarely give out such kinds of projections, no, kasi primarily because this is really dependent on the private sector, no, investing. So it's not for us to make those investments. It's their investment. So we have to, what we do is we announce what are the actual recorded registered investments from the private sector.
As na lang for my part. Sir, may update na po kaya dun sa IRR ng Mining Act na yung RA, ba ito?
Wala pa po. But I'm glad you brought it up. We'll follow it up with the DNR and the DOF, which are the primary agencies responsible for the IRR of the Mining Fiscal Regime Bill.
Sir, ano na lang po yung nature po ng investment dun sa South Korean firm kanina?
Semiconductors, electronics.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ivan Mayrina.
Okay, we'll try.
No, Secretary, you said that you've verified the figure and it's fake, yung 1.7 trillion. But have you personally spoken to the SEC chairman? And what does he have to say about this, quoting fake news report in his speech?
May I suggest all the media outlets here have a reporters who have a beat of the SEC. Perhaps you should ask him na lang po.
But have you spoken to him?
Of course.
Yes. Okay, sa kanya itanong. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That is the
So
last.
in short, we've confirmed it's fake. It's confirmed.
That is the last.
As I said, it's unfortunate, but it happened.
Okay.
Sir, what consequences will he face over this issue?
Thank you. May you all have a wonderful lunch.
Thank you very much, Secretary Go. At maaari na po tayong tumanggap ng inyong mga katanungan.
Okay. First question will be coming from Ana Felicia Bacho, GMA News Online.
Microphone.
Good Afternoon, Yusek. Ma'am, may we just get your reaction? Cavite Representative Kiko Barzaga is eyeing to file impeachment complaint against the President. Nakarating na po ba ito sa Presidente, ma'am?
Makarating o hindi makarating, ito naman po ay trabaho po yan at saklaw po yan ng House of Representatives.
But ma'am, before po itong plano niyang pag-file ng impeachment complaint, he's also calling for the President to resign because yung corruption daw po ay dito sa Malacanang nanggagaling. Ano pong masasabi ng palas?
Mahirap po kasi magsalita ng walang ebidensya. Madaling magbintang, madaling magsabi kung ano-ano. Kung walang ebidensya, hindi dapat paniwalaan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Follow-up question from Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Yusek, how does the palace or how does the president view these moves by Congressman Barzaga? He said he will file an impeachment. He called for people power to oust the president. He called for the president's resignation. While the congressman's ways may be unconventional, he is certainly getting a lot of attention. Is Malacanang paying attention?
Sa panahon ngayon na marami pong ginagawa ang Pangulo, hindi po pinapansin ang mga ganyang klaseng usapin. Busy ang Pangulo sa pagtulong sa mga kababayan natin, maraming trabaho para maiangat pa ang Pilipinas, hindi para ibaba ang dignidad ng ating bansa.
But again, is the president paying attention to Congressman Barzaga?
Just a smile.
Next question is from Katrina Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Ma'am, do we already have an updated number kung ilan na po yung complaints or letters na na-submit sa Sumbong sa Pangulo website since it was open to the public?
As of 9 o'clock today, 19,729 ang naitala po na complaint. At bukas po siguro mas magkakaroon po kami ng detalyadong report kung ano na po ang nangyayari at ano na po ang nasusolusyonan o ano na po yung nagkakaroon ng mga aksyon.
Next question.
Follow-up question, sorry. Mananatili, until when po mananatiling open yung Sumbong sa Pangulo? Until the end of the President's term, or will there be a sort of a cap to close the website and focus first on what has been reported?
Tingnan po natin. Kasi kapag po naman wala ng report at natapos na at wala nang pumapasok, maaari na po siguro ito isara.
Next question is from Ann Soberano, Bombo Radyo.
Yusek, good afternoon. Yusek, reaction lang ng Malacanang o ni Pangulong Marcos sa first ever joint activity between Philippine and Japanese militaries sa ilalim po ng Reciprocal Access Agreement. Ongoing po ngayon ang Doshin Bayanihan 525. Ito ay isang combined exercise between the two countries. Ayon sa National Security Council, ang nasabing inaugural activity ay isang strategic milestone in the operationalization ng RAA. Reaction po, ma'am.
Yan din po ang nais talaga po ng Pangulo. Magkaroon ng reaffirmation ng ating commitment sa stability, peace and cooperation dito po sa Indo-Pacific. At hindi lang po ito ang nagpapalakas ng depensa, kung hindi nagbibigay pa rin po ng karagdagang kaalaman at para po mas maagarang pagresponde, lalo-lalo na po pagka mayroon pong kalamidad na nangyayari sa atin.
Ma'am, makatutulong din ba ito sa issue na kinakaharap ngayon ng Pilipinas regarding po sa West Philippine Sea, ang pagiging agresibo po ng China?
Hindi ko po masasagot yan at i-defer ko na lang po yan sa DFA.
Next question is from Let Narciso, DZRH.
Good afternoon, Yusek. Ma'am, sa Kamara po, mayroong resolusyon na nagpapaimbestiga sa tinawag na haunted hospitals ng DOH. At sa Senado naman, ibinunyag ni Senator Gatchalian yung higit 10 billion pesos na naluging pondo daw sa gobyerno dahil sa overpricing ng farm-to-market roads ng DA. Isasama na po ba ito sa iniimbestigahan o iimbestigahan ng ICI?
Kapag mo may mga dokumento, maaari naman po ito ibigay agad sa ICI para kung sino po yung mga concern ng mga tao dito at involved, ay maaari po agad maipatawag para magkaroon ng mas mabilis ang pag-iimbestiga.
So, pwede po itong isabay dun sa ongoing investigations?
Yes, opo. Lahat po naman ng infrastructure na questionable ay maaari pong isailalim po sa pag-iimbestiga ng ICI.
Next question, Eden Santos, Net 25.
Yusek, sabi po ni Secretary Vince Dizon, meron ng 8,000 infra projects po yung naimbestigahan ng ahensya. May we know kung ang report po na ito ng DPWH ay naibahagi na kay Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. knowing na parang mas marami po dun sa 5,000 plus na mga flood control projects ng admin po itong kanilang naimbestigahan na.
Ang pag-iimbestiga naman po ay sa buong 10 years. So, according to Sec Vince, ay nasabi naman po niya ito sa Pangulo.
Thank you po.
Next question, Evelyn Quiroz, Filipino Mirror.
Good morning, Yusek. Nagiging abala po tayo sa pag-iimbestiga sa mga flood control projects. Pero may naging kautusan po ba ang Pangulo na tignan din po yung mga, kasi po meron pong mga iba pang departments na may mga infra projects like DOH, TND, and DepEd po yung mga classrooms. Meron po bang naging kautusan ng Pangulo na tignan din po ito? Kasi po yung mga contractor po ng flood control, sila rin po yung mga contractor sa mga ganitong projects.
Kaya nga po, ang ginawa pong Independent Commission ay patungkol po sa mga anomalyang flood control projects and infrastructure. Ibig po sabihin, lahat po na maaaring i-report nila na may mga anomalya, maaari po itong imbestigahan. Yan po ang gusto ng Pangulo.
Last question is from Tina Maralit, The Manila Times.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, earlier this week, Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong pointed to you as the trigger for his resignation as Special Advisor to the ICI. In an interview, sabi niya, and I quote, "Kumbaga, parang wala akong karapatang mag-imbestiga." Ayun yung message doon sa inilabas ni Yusek Claire sa press con niya. Kumbaga, sinabihan ako na wala akong karapatang mag-imbestiga kasi Special Advisor ka. Tapos kung ano-ano pa ang sinabi sa akin. Your thoughts on this po?
Sana po napanood niyang buo yung ating press briefing. Pero ito pong issue na to ay paulit-ulit na at nasagot ko na po, pero hindi ko alam bakit paulit-ulit pa rin at parang hindi po nagkakaroon ng katapusan ang issue na ito. But anyway, this will be my last time to answer these issues. Unang-una po, hindi ko po saklaw ang kanyang damdamin. Siya po ang voluntaryong nag-resign, hindi naman po siya pinagre-resign. Kung iyon po ang kanyang naging desisyon, hindi ko rin po saklaw ang kanyang pagdidesisyon. Sinabi po niya na wala daw siyang karapatang mag-imbestiga. Unang-una po, iba po kasi ang pag-presume at iba naman po yung naging pronouncement ng ating Pangulo. September 15, sinabi po ng Pangulo na siya po ay Special Advisor. Hinanapan po siya sa isang programa kung nasaan po ang kanyang mandato, ang papel patungkol po dito. Ang sinabi lamang po ni Mayor Magalong ay he just presumed that he is an investigator. Maaaring ganun ang mangyayari kung siya po ay nag-resign bilang mayor. Pero ang Pangulo na nga rin po nagsabi na pinili niya pong mag-stay at manatiling mayor ng Baguio City. So, kung kayo po ang magtatanong sa kanya, maaari po nating hanapin nasan nga po ba yung sinasabi nating papel na siya po ay nagtatalaga o tinalaga ng Pangulo na investigador. At sana po, maiwasan na po rin sana natin yung mga guessing game na nagbibigay ng intriga, lalong-lalo na sa aking naging trabaho. Ang aking naging pronouncement po dito noong September 26 na ang role ni Mayor Magalong ay ibibigay muna sa legal team, yan po ay nanggaling sa Pangulo. Huwag po niyang bigyan ng intriga na mayroong nag-utos sa akin na ibang tao. Kaya sabi nga natin, iwasan natin ang kwentong walang ebidensya. Kung sino man yung sinasabi niyang yon, kung may alam siya kung sino nag-utos sa akin at hindi ang Pangulo, sa mga sinabi ko noong September 26, ipalitaw niya po. Dahil alam kong wala siyang mapapalitaw. Dahil yon ay walang katotohanan. So iwasan po natin ang mga intriga lalong-lalo na kung tatamaan dito ang Pangulo. Ang Pangulo po ay sumusunod lamang sa batas. Hindi po natin pwedeng i-please lahat ang tao sa kagustuhan nila. Pero ang maaapektuhan naman po ay ang batas at ang pronouncement ng Pangulo. Sana matapos na po ang issue na ito dito at wala na po sanang paulit-ulit na issue na ganito.
Salamat po.
Salamat. Whole of government approach upang masigurado ang price stability sa gitna ng mga kalamidad sa bansa. Sa gitna ng sunod-sunod na sakuna na naitala sa bansa, sinisiguro ngayon ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa publiko ang pagkakaroon ng mga hakbang na makakatulong sa pagpapatibay sa presyo ng mga bilihin sa bansa. May mga hakbang na rin ang Pangulo para mas paigtingin ang pagbibigay ng suporta sa mga magsasaka upang masiguro ang food supply sa bansa at ang agarang pagbangon sa mga lugar na lubhang naapektuhan ng mga sakuna. Ayon kay Finance Secretary Recto, kabilang sa mga hakbang na ito ang tuloy-tuloy na relief and rehabilitation efforts para sa mga biktima ng kalamidad, lalo na sa pagbibigay ng tulong at suporta sa mga magsasaka. Dagdag ng kalihim na makakaasa ang taong bayan na nakaagapay ang pamahalaan sa pangunguna ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. upang masiguro na abot kaya ang presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin, lalo na sa lubos na nangangailangan. Sa gitna ng sama ng panahon, nagsagawa ang administrasyon ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na ang mga iba't ibang intervention para maprotektahan ang purchasing power at livelihood ng mga residenteng apektado ng mga sakuna. Ang Department of Trade and Industry nagpatupad ng price freeze sa mga basic commodities sa mga apektadong lugar upang maiwasan ang paglobo ng presyo ng mga bilihan at supply shortage sa gitna ng mga kalamidad. Namahagi naman ng agarang tulong ang Department of Agriculture sa mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Kasama na dito ang rice stock distribution mula sa National Food Authority. Kabilang din dito ang access sa Quick Response Fund para sa rehabilitation and recovery at indemnification para sa mga insured na mga magsasaka sa mga apektadong lugar. Aabot din sa 1 million rice farmers ang inaasahang makakatanggap ng tig 7,000 pesos na ayuda sa ilalim ng 2026 national budget upang mapunan ang kanilang nawalang income dahil sa pagbaba ng presyo ng palay. Namahagi rin ang DA ng 1.27 billion pesos worth of farm and fishery equipment sa Zamboanga Peninsula. Nakatakda namang mag-auction ang Department of Energy ng at least 100 megawatts ng renewable energy capacity sa ilalim ng open and competitive selection process para sa local at foreign developers. pagpapataw ng lifetime blacklisting sa mga pasaway na contractors, suppliers at consultants isinusulong. Alinsunod sa adhikain ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na tukuyin at puksain ang korupsyon sa mga proyekto ng pamahalaan. Isinusulong ni Budget Management Secretary Mina Pangandaman ang perpetual disqualification sa mga bidders at contract implementors na paulit-ulit ang paglabag sa procurement regulations sa ilalim ng bagong Republic Act No. 12009 o ang New Government Procurement Act. Layunin ng bagong pasang batas na panatilihing transparent ang procurement process at isulong ang accountability sa paggamit ng pondo ng bayan. Nilalayon din ng ahensya na gawing mas matindi ang parusa sa mga pribadong individual o kumpanya na mapapatunayang nagpabaya o lumabag sa mga kontrata ng gobyerno. Matapos lamang ng 3 violations ay papatawan ng lifetime disqualification ang contractor, suppliers at consultants na lumabag sa batas o regulation. Hindi na rin sila papayagang makipagtransaksyon sa anumang ahensya ng gobyerno upang hindi na pamarisa ng iba. Inaasahang magiging mabisang deterrent ang bagong probisyon ng batas upang wakasan ang paglustay sa kabanambayan at proteksyonan ang kapakanan ng mamamayan. Para sa pag-unlad ng sektor ng pangkalusugan, Pangulong Marcos Jr. makikipagpulong sa PISAC Healthcare Center or sector. Nakatakdang pulungin ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ngayong hapon ang ilang miyembro ng Private Sector Advisory Council o PISAC Healthcare Sector upang pag-usapan ang kalagayan ng health sector sa bansa. Layunin din ng pagpupulong na maipaabot kay Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa Department of Health at ibang ahensya ang ilang rekomendasyon ng PISAC para sa agarang masiguro ang kalusugan ng taumbayan. Tandaan po natin, ang nais ng Pangulo ay mas magandang kalusugan para sa bawat Pilipino. At dito na po nagtatapos ang ating press briefing. Magandang araw para sa bagong Pilipinas.